At the beginning of the story, Finn is introduced as an ordinary high school girl spending time with her friends and walking through school like everything is normal. She smiles, talks casually, and tries to act the same as always, but inside she's carrying a huge emotional burden. Her family has suddenly turned upside down. Her parents have decided to divorce, but the strange part is not just the separation, both of them are planning to marry another couple. Her father will marry another woman, and that woman's husband will marry Finn's mother. It is not just a divorce, it is like both families are swapping partners and forming a completely new household. For Finn, the whole thing feels unreal, like her life has been turned into someone else's story. Unable to keep it to herself, she tells her closest friend. The friend is completely stunned and says she has never heard of anything so unusual. She asks how Finn is even dealing with it. Finn cannot answer because she does not understand her own emotions. She feels angry, confused, embarrassed, and helpless all at once. After school, she returns home quietly. Her parents sit with her and try to reassure her. Her mother gently says that even if they separate, Finn will still be their daughter and that will never change. But Finn cannot accept such simple words. She knows everything is changing and no reassurance can erase that. She stays silent, but her expression clearly shows how deeply this is hurting her. Around the same time, the story introduces Chin. He is standing near a bridge playing tennis with a calm and confident attitude, looking like someone who never worries about anything. Soon both families arrange a dinner meeting so the children can meet and officially accept the new family structure. Finn goes unwillingly, clearly upset, while Chin arrives later than everyone else. When he walks in, the first meeting between them is awkward. They exchange a stiff greeting, but neither looks happy. Finn avoids eye contact, while Chin seems curious but detached. At the dinner table, Finn can no longer keep everything inside. She suddenly says she refuses to accept this strange parent exchange. The atmosphere becomes heavy. Chin asks directly why she is against it. Finn finally expresses what she has been holding back. Her parents are acting as if this only concerns them, but her life is being changed too. She asks whether she is now expected to split herself between families like some object passed around. Her mother calmly explains that everyone will live in the same house, so nothing will really separate them. Finn feels trapped. She agrees, but only because she realizes no one will change their decision for her sake. Soon after, the two families move into a large new house together. Finn carries her belongings inside, but every step feels uncomfortable. She is entering a new life she never chose. As soon as she walks in, Chin is already standing there as if waiting for her. The atmosphere becomes tense immediately. Then she discovers the worst part: their bedrooms are side by side. Chin casually asks why she looks so quiet. Finn says there is no point in complaining anymore because she has no choice but to live like this. Trying to tease her, Chin says he has a welcome gift. Finn is caught off guard and almost believes he is trying to be nice. But when she opens the box, she sees what looks like a huge cockroach. She screams and jumps back in fear. Chin laughs and reveals it is fake. Finn gets furious, calls him childish and rude, and storms away. From that moment, the two start constantly arguing. Every time they meet, there is some new teasing, prank, or fight. They act like enemies forced to live under the same roof, each one trying to get the upper hand. Finn complains to her stepmother, asking why she has to stay next to such an irritating person. Her stepmother simply tells her to stop being stubborn and learn to get along with her stepbrother. Finn thinks to herself that there is absolutely no chance she could ever care about someone like Chin. Next day, she goes to school trying to focus on normal life. She's walking with her friend and starts feeling a little better, but the moment she enters the classroom, her mood is destroyed. Chin is already there. He is transferred to her school and joined her class without warning. Almost instantly, girls surround him, asking for his number and trying to get close. Finn gets annoyed and demands an explanation. Chin says his previous school was too far away, so he transferred to make things easier. Finn asks why nobody told her. Chin smirks and says if she had known, she probably would have stopped him. She complains to her friend that either her luck is cursed or Chin is planning something. During sports class, Finn plays tennis with Takashi. He's not just her friend but a well-known athlete in the school and one of its most popular students. They play comfortably together, clearly sharing a strong bond. Chin watches from nearby. A girl approaches him and invites him to join the tennis club, but he ignores her and keeps looking at Finn. He asks who the boy playing with her is. The girl explains that Takashi and Finn have been close since childhood. Chin asks if Takashi is her boyfriend. The girl says no, but everyone knows they are close. Chin looks unsettled and walks away without saying anything. That night, the family is eating together, but the atmosphere remains awkward. Finn's father casually asks what kind of boy she likes. Before she can answer, Chin jokingly says she probably likes the tennis boy. Finn is shocked and glares at him. Her mother immediately tells Chin to apologize, but before he can, Finn stands up and says she cannot sit there with people who speak without thinking. She leaves and eats alone in her room. Later that night, Chin cannot stop thinking about what happened. He realizes he crossed the line. Instead of waiting until morning, he climbs outside and reaches Finn's window. He knocks and asks her to open it. At first she ignores him, but after seeing that he came there just to apologize, she opens the window. She asks if he has lost his mind climbing around like a thief. Chin jokes for a moment but then sincerely apologizes. He says he should not have embarrassed her and asks her not to tell anyone he came to apologize. He also tells her she should not keep hating their parents forever because they are still family. Finn listens but does not forgive him immediately. Still, something changes. She begins to see another side of him. The next morning they leave for school together, but Finn stays silent. At the gate, another girl approaches Chin and asks for his number. Finn immediately becomes irritated, though she pretends she does not care. Later, she asks who the girl was. Chin says she was his ex-girlfriend and that they only dated for 3 months. Finn asks why such a short relationship. Chin jokes that he is not good at relationships and calls himself a playboy. Finn pretends to ignore the conversation, but his answer stays in her mind. When Finn sees Takashi later, her mood improves right away. She smiles naturally around him. That makes it increasingly clear she has feelings for him. Later, while she is sitting in a cafe with her friend, Chin's ex-girlfriend suddenly appears. She sees Finn close to Chin and becomes emotional. She warns Finn to stay away from him because she still loves him. After she leaves, Finn's friend comments that the girl seems genuinely serious about Chin. Finn does not respond, but she starts thinking about Chin in a way she had not before. After school, Takashi offers to walk Finn home. He says he wants to revisit places from their childhood and relive old memories. Finn agrees. As they walk, they talk about the past, old school days, and silly things they used to do together. Eventually, they stop at the candy shop they visited when they were children. They sit together and the mood becomes much softer. There is a pause between them that says more than words. Both clearly feel something. Finn becomes shy and nervous. Her heartbeat speeds up and she suddenly leaves because she cannot handle the romantic tension. When she gets home, Chin is already there. She steps out of her room and unexpectedly sees him walking out after a shower. She screams and turns away embarrassed. Chin casually asks why she's making such a fuss when it is also his house. Later, when their parents are out, both of them are hungry. Chin cooks a simple meal for them and they sit together in the kitchen. For the first time, the mood is relaxed. Finn tells him he acts bitter and rude, but deep down he is kind. She compares him to marmalade, sweet even if he does not look like it. Chin laughs and says she is like mustard, sharp, spicy, and impossible to ignore. Finn laughs too. It is the first truly natural moment between them. As they continue talking over dinner, Finn realizes Chin is not the cold, annoying boy she first judged him to be. He is teasing, but he also notices small things, cooks for her, and even went out of his way to apologize. Chin also notices she is not as selfish or dramatic as he first thought. Under her temper, she is sincere and emotional. Neither says it directly, but that evening marks the beginning of a change. Their constant fighting slowly starts turning into curiosity, and the distance between them becomes much smaller than either of them expected. The next day at school, an important tennis match is about to start, but Takashi's team runs into trouble when one of the players gets injured at the last minute. Finn wants to help because she knows how much the match means to Takashi, but there is one problem. The team needs another male player and she cannot join. Without wasting time, she rushes to find Chin. She reminds him that he used to be a tennis champion at his old school and insists that he come help. Chin has no idea what is happening, but before he can even refuse, Finn drags him straight to the court. Soon, Chin and Takashi are standing on the same side, and the atmosphere becomes intense. The girls around the court are thrilled because the two most popular boys in school are now playing together. Just before the game begins, Takashi turns to Finn and in front of everyone asks, "If we win today, will you go on a date with me?" The words hit Chin immediately. He freezes for a moment, and even though he says nothing, the jealousy in his expression is obvious. Takashi had once turned Finn down, but now he clearly wants another chance. Chin keeps glancing at Finn, waiting to hear her answer, but she stays silent, leaving both boys uncertain. The match starts, and despite the awkward tension, Takashi and Chin work surprisingly well as a team. They play with perfect coordination and eventually secure the win. Everyone cheers, but while the crowd celebrates, Chin cannot focus on the victory. His attention remains on Finn and Takashi, and his growing jealousy becomes impossible to hide. After the match, Takashi runs straight to Finn and hugs her tightly in celebration. Chin sees everything. He pauses for a second, his face unreadable, then quietly turns around and walks away without saying a word. Finn notices him leaving, but she does not stop him. Her silence reveals how confused she is about her own emotions. Only a moment later, another accident happens. A player loses his grip on a racket and it flies directly toward Finn. Takashi reacts quickly, stepping in front of her and shielding her from being hit. He protects her, but Finn loses her balance, falls, and hits the ground. She passes out instantly. The cheerful atmosphere disappears as everyone rushes to help. Chin's face changes immediately. All his irritation vanishes, replaced by genuine panic. Finn is taken to the school infirmary. After some time, she slowly wakes up, but before opening her eyes fully, she hears the door open. Chin enters. Not wanting him to know she is awake, she keeps her eyes shut and pretends to still be unconscious. Chin comes closer, stands beside her bed, and quietly looks at her. There is no teasing, no jokes, no sarcasm, only concern. He studies her face for a moment as if making sure she is truly okay. Then, without saying anything, he leaves. As soon as the door closes, Finn opens her eyes. Her heart is racing. Everything has become more complicated. On one side is Takashi, the childhood friend who has always been by her side. On the other is Chin, the stepbrother she once hated but now cannot stop thinking about. That evening, as Finn is walking toward her room, Chin suddenly blocks her path. He brings up Takashi's confession and says almost casually that Takashi asked her on a date but never got an answer. He asks if she plans to reply. Finn gets defensive and says she is not going anywhere with Takashi. She tells Chin to stop interfering in things that are none of his business and walks away, but his words stay in her mind. Later that night, Takashi comes to her house, unable to wait any longer for her answer. Finn goes outside to meet him. She apologizes and says she cannot give him the answer he wants because she is not the same person anymore. Takashi asks if she has fallen for someone else. She hesitates, then admits the truth. She does not even know who she likes anymore. Hearing that, Takashi can no longer hide his feelings. He steps closer and hugs her tightly, confessing that he has loved her for a long time. Finn is startled and pushes him away, but after a brief silence, she walks back to him and hugs him once more. This time, though, it is not love, it is farewell. She softly says sorry and leaves. With that, she rejects him, and the triangle between the three of them officially begins. The next morning, Finn and Chin ride to school on the bus. The air between them is quiet. But Finn keeps secretly looking at him. Whenever he turns and catches her staring, she quickly looks away, embarrassed. Yet after a few seconds, she looks at him again. She cannot control it, and that only confuses her more. Soon after, both sets of parents leave for a honeymoon trip, leaving Finn and Chin alone at home. The unusual silence in the house feels strange. Finn goes out for a walk to clear her head and Chin follows. They talk about their parents acting carefree while leaving all the awkwardness behind for them to handle. Chin asks if she is still upset about the strange family arrangement. Finn says she has decided to stop worrying. She claims she will only think of herself as her father's daughter and stop caring about anything else, though her voice makes it clear she is forcing herself to believe it. They end up at a park. Finn sits on a swing and Chin starts pushing her. At first he pushes too hard, making her complain, but soon she begins laughing. For the first time in a while, she looks genuinely relaxed. Chin gets on the swing next to her and they spend a peaceful moment together, talking and laughing like they have known each other forever. Their time is interrupted when a boy named Haru appears and unexpectedly invites them into his car. He takes them to his house and begins asking if they know a famous architect named Mr. Miwa. They say no, and Haru reveals that Mr. Miwa is his father. Then he drops a shocking truth. Years ago, Chin's mother worked as his father's secretary and many people believed they had an affair. There were rumors that she was pregnant with Mr. Miwa's child. Haru says that after hearing this, he thought Chin might be his half-brother. Finn immediately remembers something Chin once told her, that the man who raised him may not be his biological father. Suddenly, the story seems possible. At Haru's house, Mr. Miwa is already there. Chin, unable to hold back anymore, directly asks if he is his father. Mr. Miwa calmly says no. He explains that Haru misunderstood the past. He admits he was attracted to Chin's mother because she was beautiful and charming. He invited her out several times, but she always refused. Later he learned she already loved someone from her school days and that man could be Chin's real father. He advises Chin to ask his parents directly, but Chin immediately refuses. He is afraid the truth could destroy everything. On the way home, Finn notices how deeply shaken he is. She gently says it is getting cold and suggests they go back. Chin quietly asks if she will warm him. Surprised, Finn steps closer and hugs him. That simple gesture breaks down the wall he has built around himself. For the first time, Chin opens up completely. He admits that when he learned years ago that the man who raised him might not be his biological father, he felt like his entire life collapsed. He stopped enjoying tennis, stopped trusting people, and even wished he had never been born. He believed everyone would betray him eventually. Finn listens carefully, then tells him that family is not just about blood. She says the people who raised him love him deeply, and that is what matters. She reminds him that he is important to them no matter what. Her words comfort him more than he expected. She hugs him again, and for the first time in years he feels like someone truly understands him. Then Finn gathers the courage to ask what has been bothering her. She asks why in the infirmary he came close and looked at her so gently. Chin looks at her and finally says the truth, because he likes her. He explains that when they first met, he thought she was loud, emotional, and always speaking without thinking. But over time, he realized that her honesty was what drew him in. She says what she feels, never hides her emotions, and has a kindness he admires. He says he always imagined being with someone sincere and only she fits that image. Finn stands still, unable to speak. After everything that has happened, hearing those words feels unreal. Then she smiles softly and says she likes him too. The confession changes everything. The tension between them finally makes sense. Chin jokes to hide his embarrassment, but before he can walk away, Finn hugs him from behind. She admits he is the only person who annoys her so much and still makes her heart beat faster every time he is near. Hearing that, Chin completely gives in. He turns around and hugs her tightly. The girl who once called him the most irritating person in the world has now become the person he cares for most, and in that quiet moment, their relationship truly begins. The next day, Chin decides he cannot keep avoiding the issue with his past, so he meets his ex-girlfriend and tells her honestly that he has fallen in love with someone else. He expects her to be angry or hurt, but instead she surprises him. She smiles sadly and says that although it hurts, she is relieved he finally found someone who makes him genuinely happy. She admits that during their short relationship she always felt that part of his heart was distant, as if he was carrying pain he never shared. Now seeing his expression when he talks about Finn, she understands that he has changed. She tells him to take care of the person who finally taught him how to smile sincerely. Chin thanks her, and for the first time he ends something from his past without regret. Later he meets Finn. It is a meaningful day for both of them, their first special day together since they confessed their feelings. Chin has bought her a gift. He hands her a small box, and when Finn opens it she finds a delicate bracelet inside. She's genuinely touched. Her eyes brighten and a shy smile spreads across her face. Chin takes the bracelet from the box and gently fastens it around her wrist himself. The atmosphere becomes quiet, and both of them are too aware of how close they are standing. It feels like they are about to share their first truly romantic moment, but just then both of their mothers suddenly walk into the room. Panic takes over instantly. Without thinking, Finn grabs Chin and pulls him into the nearest closet. They squeeze inside together, hearts pounding, standing so close that they can hear each other's breathing. They try not to make any noise, but when the mothers begin looking around, the closet door is opened. Both women freeze at the sight of the two teenagers hiding together in such an obvious situation. Finn and Chin are mortified, and although the mothers say almost nothing, their suspicious expressions make it clear they have started to notice something unusual. After that incident, Finn and Chin become more careful. They continue seeing each other in secret, sharing quiet moments away from the house. At school, they exchange glances and small smiles no one else understands. When no one is around, they hold hands, walk together, and talk about things they never shared before. Chin tells Finn that he wants to take her somewhere far away, just the two of them, where they won't need to hide from anyone. Finn smiles and agrees immediately, imagining a place where they can act naturally and not worry about family or school. Finn is too happy to keep everything to herself, so she tells her best friend about the relationship. She shows her the bracelet Chin gave her and cannot stop smiling. Her friend is thrilled and says she had suspected something was changing between them. She teases Finn for falling in love with the same person she once called unbearable. Finn tries to deny how obvious it was, but her expression gives everything away. That night, Finn is still at her part-time job, so Chin is home alone. While moving around the house, he notices one of the storage room lights has gone out. He goes to replace it. The room is full of old boxes, books, and family belongings. While searching for a replacement bulb, he accidentally knocks over a dusty photo album. Curious, he picks it up and begins flipping through it. At first, he smiles at the old pictures. He sees childhood photos of Finn laughing, playing, looking carefree. It makes him realize how much he has come to treasure every side of her. But as he turns another page, he suddenly stops. His entire body freezes. In one photograph, his mother is standing beside Finn's father. The picture looks old, taken during their college years, and the closeness between them is undeniable. At that moment, Mr. Miwa's words return to his mind. The mysterious school lover, the man from his mother's past. A terrifying realization hits him. What if that man was Finn's father? If that were true, then Chin and Finn might share the same blood. The thought crushes him instantly. All the happiness he had finally found feels like it shatters in seconds. When Finn returns home later, she's carrying a small present for him. She is excited and says she bought something because she wanted to surprise him. She takes out a watch and lovingly fastens it onto his wrist herself. Normally Chin would have teased her, smiled, or hugged her, but now he stands still. His face is empty. He only says a quiet thank you. Finn notices the difference but assumes he is just tired. When she tries to come closer, he steps back and says he is cold and wants to sleep. Then he leaves for his room, shutting the door behind him. The next day, he begins avoiding her. When she asks to walk home together, he says he has to go to the library. At lunch, he sits somewhere else. At home, he barely speaks. Finn is confused and hurt. She tries to understand what changed overnight, but Chin gives her nothing. Eventually, at dinner, Chin makes a shocking announcement. He tells the family he plans to transfer to a university in Kyoto and wants to leave the school immediately. Everyone is surprised, but he says it is for his future. In reality, it is only an excuse to get away from Finn. Later, Finn finds him outside and confronts him directly. She asks why he never told her. Chin answers coldly that it has nothing to do with her. The words cut deeply. She realizes he has been avoiding her intentionally. Then, with visible pain in his eyes, Chin says the cruelest thing he can think of. He no longer sees her as someone he loves. He says the feelings are gone and tells her to think of him as someone who lied. Finn is devastated. She grabs him, asking what happened, begging him not to leave. She says if something is wrong, they can solve it together, but Chin forces himself to walk away. As he leaves, he is crying too, though he hides it from her. They both break apart, each believing the other is lost forever. Time passes. Finn cannot move on. She smiles less, speaks less, and keeps the bracelet on her wrist every day. Takashi returns and spends time with her again, but she never tells him the truth about the breakup. Even when he gently tries to get closer, she cannot let him in. Her heart still belongs to Chin. Chin is no better. In Kyoto, he lives alone and studies, but nothing feels meaningful. He remembers the way Finn laughed, the way she argued, the way she looked at him. The watch she gave him stays on his wrist. He cannot remove it. Years pass, they graduate and move into college life, but neither enters another relationship. Finn's friend eventually tells her she cannot keep living with unanswered feelings. She encourages her to go to Kyoto and see him one last time. At least then, she says, there will be closure. Finn finally goes. At Chin's college, she sees him walking with another girl. Her heart sinks. She hides behind a tree, but Chin senses someone watching and notices her. He walks over immediately. After years apart, seeing each other again brings a strange calm. They walk together, speaking carefully like strangers pretending they were never in love. Finn asks whether the girl is his girlfriend. Chin lies and says yes. She smiles faintly and says she only came to see if he was doing well. At the train station, they sit in silence. Then Finn notices he is still wearing her watch. Chin notices her bracelet. Neither says anything at first, but the truth is obvious. Neither has forgotten. Finn finally confesses. She says she never loved anyone else and never will. Chin tells her she must move on, but she replies that he has not moved on either. She says being apart felt like constant pain. She even wished she could hate him because that would have made forgetting easier. Hearing that, Chin can no longer lie. He admits he still loves her and never wanted to leave. He tells her the girl was only a friend. Then he shows her the old photograph and explains everything he discovered. He says he believed Finn's father might also be his biological father, which would make them siblings. Finn is stunned. At first she refuses to believe it, but then she remembers how strangely familiar their parents always seemed around each other. The old nicknames, the silent glances, the possibility becomes real. She wants to confront the parents immediately, but Chin stops her, afraid the truth will destroy both families. Instead, Finn makes one final request. She reminds him of the trip he once promised. She says before they say goodbye forever, she wants that one memory. Chin agrees. They spend several precious days together. They take photos, eat together, laugh softly, and act as if nothing is wrong. Yet beneath every smile is sadness. Both know the time is limited. Every moment feels more valuable because it may be the last. On the final night at the hotel, Chin walks toward his room, but Finn suddenly hugs him from behind. She does not want to let him go. Chin turns and embraces her too. They stay like that for a long time. Then Chin makes a decision. He says they cannot live forever with assumptions. No matter how painful, they must ask the truth directly. Finn agrees. Together they return home. When they arrive, the parents are shocked to see them together. Chin speaks first. He says he knows about the past and asks whether Finn's father is really his biological father. Finn begins crying as well. At last, Chin's mother explains everything. Years ago, she was in love with another man. She became pregnant, but she lost that child before birth. Later, she met Chin's father who supported her and married her. Chin's father says clearly that Chin was born a year after their marriage. He is his real son. There was never any blood relation between Chin and Finn. The truth hits Chin like a wave. He collapses into tears. All those years of pain, all the separation, all the heartbreak, all because of a misunderstanding. Finn gathers her courage and asks if loving Chin is wrong. Instead of anger, the parents smile. They say there is nothing wrong at all. In fact, if they want, they can even marry someday. The words erase everything. Finn and Chin immediately embrace, holding each other tightly. Chin's father laughs and says they should at least act a little embarrassed in front of the family. Chin complains that the adults caused years of suffering by hiding things. Everyone laughs and the tension finally disappears. That night, the whole family sits together for dinner. For the first time, there are no secrets, no misunderstandings, and no fear. After everything they lost, Finn and Chin finally get what they wanted from the beginning, the chance to stay together openly without anyone standing between them.